What is up, everybody? It's your boy Lance back at it again with a new One Punch Man the Strongest guide, where we're gonna be looking at extreme training. Now hold up, wait, chill, calm down. Some of y'all be thinking, damn, this is easy, dog. There's nothing for me to learn from this video. Wait, hold up, you might have missed some stuff. So I highly urge you to stay till the end of the video and you might learn something new. As always, please like, share and subscribe. It does help me with the YouTube algorithm, and it also gives me the positive support for me to continue doing content. So support me, everybody. Thank you so much. So let's get into a brief introduction of the subject of today. So extreme training is the main method for you to gain S and F shards. So you might be wondering, what are S and F shards? S being the yellow shards which you use for lipid break, and F being the purple shards which you use for awakening. You have 3 free chances per day given by the system, and you have 3 additional extra chances per day purchasable with diamonds at 120, 260 and 380 diamonds respectively. You're recommended to prioritize SSR rooms for obvious reasons, because you get SSR shard drops, very valuable, and it can be frustrating at times, especially if you're doing it late into the night and you have a really bad lobby and you have no choice but to stick to it. It can be quite frustrating, so I highly suggest you do it first thing when you log in. Find a good lobby or create a lobby so that you are able to control who is in your lobby, and that will make the extreme training experience much better. Next, we're moving on to the general rule of thumb. So these are the basics of the basics you should consider when doing extreme training. So the 4th run, so this is basically your first purchase attempt and 4th attempt per day. So your 4th run purchase depends on the shard drop. So if a shard drops at round 1, you have a 90% chance of it dropping on the 4th. If a shard drops at round 2, you have a 50% chance of dropping it on the 4th. And if your shard drops at round 3, you have a 10% chance of it dropping on the 4th round. And in the event where you get double shard drops within your 3 attempts, you should skip the 4th, as it's more likely than not going to drop. So what does this mean? I would highly recommend that you pursue the 4th run if you drop in the 1st or the 2nd extreme training attempt, as this will allow you and give you the highest percentage for you to drop a 2nd one, although most people just do it when they get a drop on the round 1. Moving on, let's go into the pros and cons of this run attempt style. So based on this formula, it saves you from the unnecessary expenses of diamonds. So you don't have to gamble 120 diamonds to get a shard. You know which attempt will give you the bang for your buck. It's also very budget friendly, as you just reduce wastage similarly from the first point. And it also shows you like you don't have to do it every day. You can just do it like, oh, today I have extra diamonds and I want to go for a 4th run, and it dropped on the 1st or 2nd time, so might as well I do it. And it also allows you to redistribute your diamonds, so you, instead of wasting 120 diamonds every day, you can allocate that to somewhere else, such as Peak Arena, to get extra peak points, or if you want to do extra arena attempts, etc, you have extra diamonds to work with. Or if you're running low on BT, diamonds for BT, for example. Now the cons, you have extremely restrictive progression. So as you can see with the image, with my RMG in my smaller account, I'm doing 3 runs per day, 4 occasionally, and it's not going so fast. And this is especially apparent when you do not have Omni shards, as it can be quite painful for you to actually push for unit training. Your F and your S shard gains is extremely low, because some days you just get 1. If you have an alt account to donate, you have 2 per day minimum, but that's not enough. You would take way too long for you to actually extreme train a unit. It also delays the 5 stars of units, because you'll be dragging 1 unit and then your next unit that you pull will drag, and then your next unit that you pull will drag. So it tends to be quite difficult. You get about 40 shards a month. if you get 1 shot for 20 days and another 2 shot for 10 days. That's the estimate that I'm going for. And 5P interferes with other units as it takes around 53 to 55 days roughly for you to 5P based on this schedule. Maybe a little bit less than that depending on how many times you do the 4 runs. So now let's go to the second way, which is Lance way. So this is the way that I do it daily for my main account, which is on server 130. So I do 4 runs per day regardless of the drop. So if it drops at 1, 2, 3, I don't care, I still do the 4th run. So the double drop chance percentage is higher because you're gambling 100% on it, and some days you might be surprised you get on the 3rd drop and you get on the 4th drop as well. And it also enables triple drop, but it's very low chance. I've got it like 3 out of 30 days around there, roughly as an estimate. It's very rare, but when it happens you feel golden, I tell you. And it also speeds up the F, which are the purple shards accumulation. So instead of 50 plus days or 60 plus days, it takes around 46.5 days only. So you cut down about a week, slightly more than a week. The cons is that it's expensive because you're spending an extra 120 diamond per day consistently. Your P5 will finish way before your 5-star. This is also another thing that you need to factor in, because you might get a little bit stressed out with this fact, because unless you Omni to complete, you will not finish your limit break before you gain enough shots for your 5-star. So unless you're okay with the wasted value, you kind of need to budget it a little bit. So it does require some moderate planning, but it's not too difficult to the point where you will break your head or break your brains over it. Just relax. If you waste a bit, you waste a bit. It's fine. It's not too big of a deal. So now this is the whale way, Eve Kuras way. So signified by her very common comment on all my streams, my. So that means bye. So you do 5 runs per day regardless of drop. This is the max drop chance that you will achieve. Sometimes you might be unlucky to get it on the 6th drop, but more likely than not you will get 4 shots within the 5 runs. That's for sure. It also enables triple drop, and the triple drop percentage is quite high. It's 12 out of 30, and it speeds up again the F shot collection by a further 8 days. Yeah, by a further 8 days. So instead of 45.6, you get 37.2, which is very fast, within a month ish. So the cons, it's very expensive because you're spending an extra 380 diamonds per day. The P5 will finish way before the 5-star because you are getting so much purple shots. You're getting 5 purple shots per day, so it's very fast. And you require Omni shots to 5-star. So this is only recommended to spenders who have a steady flow of Omni shots, either via backup stake, or you're buying Omni packs, etc, or you're doing 300 on Arena, etc. This is the only situation that I would recommend this. This is sort of like the extreme of my version. So personally, I would recommend either the first version or my version. But this version is also something for you to consider if you want to rush your units very fast. And we don't know how the keepsake system will work after this, so it might actually become a viable method to do extreme training further down the road. So this is a common question that I keep getting with extreme training as well, which is who to prioritize. So personally, I would prioritize it in this order: DPS into utility into sub DPS. Some of you may be asking, who is considered DPS, who is considered utility, who is considered sub DPS? Well, if you look in your lineup, you can actually see it for yourself. Who are you putting there specifically for damage? Who are you putting there as a buffer or as a debuffer? And who are you putting there more or less to clean up? So for my lineup example, it would be DPS would be Genos as well as RMG. Utility for the current state will be Alloy, and my sub DPS is usually Garo. So putting that into context, I'm going to use a few of the future units which are coming up. So the future units which I'm using, there are 2 current units which are Genos and RMG, and there are 2 future units which are Watchdog and ATT. So the priority I will put is in this order. So Genos will be the main DPS of the team, RMG will be the single DPS or cleanup, utility will be Watchdog Man because of his 30% max HP column buffer, his seal, as well as his +2 energy for the team, so he's considered a utility unit. And sub DPS will be ATT. ATT's damage is not so good without her keepsake, so we'll see how it goes moving forward. Don't expect to be able to dominate Genos players with ATT unless you are K-Man with 1.9 million attack ATT, then you probably can. The reasoning being your DPS, which is usually Genos. Some people still use Crit Koketsu, which is frankly quite scary if your name is Sugar Daddy. Main damage source, so this is basically your main AoE unit, which will be attacking all units on the map, and it provides you the highest percentage of win condition. So I didn't add it in, but there is a single DPS. So the single DPS, why you should prioritize is because in RMG's case, you need her mostly for bossing and also for peak arena, if that is your thing. If you don't really care about peak arena, it's mostly about bossing. Bossing gives you a lot of resources which you can distribute to your main DPS and your sub DPS and your utility unit when you need to. Examples of this are Star Ascension cards that you can get from World Boss. You can get also gear shards. You can get extra loot from YOURE Club Boss if you hit hard enough and reach the highest tier chest. And it's very essential that you have at least one invested single DPS for any level tier of player. Whether you're highly competitive or not, you have to have one at least medium invested, never mind high invested. Medium invested, at least you can actually get to certain points where you won't be worried if your YOURE or your World Boss damage won't be sufficient. You need to ensure that your single target DPS is brought up quite well. So I've actually put an order of prioritization for you to refer if you want to see regarding DPS. So you should prioritize AoE 6 into single, row, column, and then T. T-shape, you can look at maybe Mosquito Girl. That's how T-shape works. So future units, Gilwin is the one that comes immediately to mind, but he's more on towards the utility side lah, because of his stun mechanic. And the second unit which you should prioritize is utility units, because this adds to the win percentage. So it buffs and debuffs units on the field. Example being Watchdog Man. He's a core unit to buff Genos and debuff his enemies with silence, as well as buff you with +2 energy at the start of your round. So very good utility unit. Other examples would be Extreme Amai. He is the only unit for a while that ups your speed. The next one coming is Sonic in January next year, if I'm not mistaken, so quite a while away. So Amai is also a very good buffer / debuffer. He buffs up ally speed and debuff enemy max HP -30% with his follow up. So there are a lot of options for you to choose regarding buffs and debuffers. You just need to work out the synergy of your team. If you want to see synergy lineups, I'll link my synergy video in the description below. So you might be thinking, why should I prioritize utility over sub DPS? Number one, utility is much easier to build. There is no extreme need for Star Ascension cards. So some of you might be thinking, wait, isn't Watchdog Man just Genos but row? And isn't Amai requiring a lot of Star Ascension cards? Yes, but these units can be tuned to your opponents. DPS units, you want to reach as high as a maximum damage as possible. For Watchdog Man's utility, you can run him with HP speed, so you make sure that he goes really fast and seals enemy speed extremely fast. Or you can go the Genos route and just go nuke Watchdog Man, so it's very versatile. ATT, you go fast, she doesn't have much damage, but if you go full damage, she's not fast, she might die. For Amai, you don't really need to tune him like 6-star buff gears, 4-set monk piece with 6-star. You don't really need that. You just need to understand how fast your opponent's Amai is, and then just go a little bit faster than that. So it's very tunable or adjustable, I think is the better term to use it for. So rather than throwing everything onto a sub DPS and expecting more damage, you can invest a lot less into a utility unit and get a lot more advantage. This is for units, this is for individuals who do not have extreme amounts of star ascension cards. If you're a whale like my brother Y Chuntam, then this doesn't matter to you. You're just going to whale every single unit anyway. It doesn't really matter. But for those who are genuinely interested, I would suggest, if you have Genos, get Watchdog Man as a good supportive utility unit right now, and Watchdog Man will be able to transition into Bomb Core as well, and when Bomb comes, transfer all of Genos' investment into ATT when she gets a keepsake. That is my recommendation for the current time, because it allows you to smoothly transition from a DPS to a DPS rather than forcing a sub DPS to match up to a DPS standard when you have Genos already. So the transitional effect actually takes less of a toll on you investment wise. This is just something for you to consider, because having a main and a sub DPS can be very stressful at times. I would know I have a main and sub DPS in my team, as well as RMG, which is invested, and I'm going to train a utility unit after this as well. So something has to give. So if you have to give something away, give away the sub DPS and depend on your main DPS to clean up. If you have RMG, you already have a built-in sub DPS unit and a PvE unit, so you can consider that as good as done. So what I'm telling you is, Awakened Terrible Tornado, good unit to pick up. Don't invest too much into her and expect her to do too much, because if you can see from how RMG is performing in PvP right now, you can get a taste of how ATT will be performing in the PvP in the future. As long as Bomb is not here, Genos will be a menace. So wait for the countermeasures to come in before you shift your investment, is my best opinion. Anyway, sorry to take up too much time in this video. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. If you reached till this point of the video, drop a piece in the comments. I really appreciate all of you who stick by all this way. It's a very long video this time. I completely understand if you do not want to watch all the way up to here, but thank you so much. I really appreciate that you did. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'm coming up with my membership soon because YouTube is still processing my application. Anyways, till we meet again everybody, I hope the audio quality has improved a little bit from the last time. Peace. Choto, I almost forgot guys. If you guys want a tier list, so to speak, of future units, do let me know. I'm considering doing it, but I'm not so sure whether you guys want to see like which units will perform in which role, and who should you get, who should you skip, which unit is a must-have, which unit is like a top-up to make sure that your lineups can adjust better. If you guys are interested in that, let me know down in the comments whether you want it. Peace.